Pirates have visited here, the Pacific Northwest, and I don't think we've seen how the roof works.
No, it's never closed. I didn't even know it had a roof for a long time. They say it rains here a lot. I've never seen anything but blue sky
Right.
every time we come here.
They're lying. Let's check out the RAV4 starting lineup for the Pirates. And of course, in an American League city, you use the designated hitter. And that will be Gregory Polanco, who will follow one-time Mariner John Jaso. Andrew McCutchen hits third. Starling Marte cleanup, 7 for 17. Lifetime against the M's. Matt Joyce in right. David Freese is at third base. Adam Frazier gets his first major league start. He's at second base. Jordy Mercer and Chris Stewart round out the starting 9 against Hisashi Iwakuma.
Take a look at Iwakuma's numbers, and they're just, everything's kind of all right. Nothing is going to jump out at you as being great. Of an average kind of ERA, 500 record. The opponent batting average at 285, maybe a little higher than normal, but as we were saying in the open, he's not a great stuff guy. His fastball is rarely going to hit 90, but he's going to try and mix speeds, move the ball in and out, and go for some soft contact.
Underway. 35-year-old Hisashi Iwakuma. And Jaso lifts one to left. Sean O'Malley. One out. So you met the Mariners left fielder. We'll check out the rest of the Mariners defense, brought to you by Honda. Leonis Martin in center. Franklin Gutierrez having a nice bounce back season is in right. And on the infield, left to right, Kyle Seager, Ketel Marte, Robinson Cano, the veteran at second base. Dae-Ho Lee is at first. Chris Iannetta behind the plate. Veteran backstop. One-time Colorado Rocky in his first year with the M's. Mariners are 38-38. Third place, 11.5 back of the Texas Rangers. The Pirates, third place in the National League Central, 3 games under 500. And 13 back of the Chicago Cubs, who are involved in an extra inning affair with the Reds in Cincinnati tonight. Gregory Polanco returns to the starting lineup, but as a designated hitter. Some leg discomfort, we believe a hamstring, but not positive of that. Scott Service, former big league catcher, is in his first year as the skipper at the age of 49. He's the 20th manager in Mariners history. Absolutely smoked toward right field, but a foul ball. Might have broken his bat in the process. Let's get to our Rivers Casino tips to win.
Well, close the gap. That means the home run gap. These guys hit a ton of home runs. Nice is having a problem with that. If Nice gives up home runs tonight, we need to hit some of our own. And so keep that home run difference very tight tonight. I think it's important to get this win. And in this less innings for the Pen, I think, Greg, you can say that over the next 2 series. Because there's a DH and you don't have to, pinch hit for the pitcher and that sort of thing. You might get that, have an opportunity anyway to get that extra inning out of a starting pitcher, and perhaps get into that, that part of the bullpen late in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning that we feel very comfortable with. And hopefully tonight that'll be the case.
3-1 pitch, and not a good looking swing there from Polanco. Really fooled by Iwakuma.
He was looking for a little fastball that was going to be on the inside part of the strike zone that he could maybe rocket out of here. Didn't get it.
Buddy does a nice job coming back and not offering it that pitch that was out of the zone.
Big difference in Polanco this year is what you just saw right there. That much better knowledge of that strike zone. Willing to lay off, be patient, take the base on balls.
Really coming into his own, and it'd be good to get him back to full health. And Andrew McCutchen steps to the plate. Like Marte, we showed you the numbers for Marte and limited number of at-bats against the Seattle Mariners. Same is true with McCutchen. 7 hits, 17 at-bats, a .412 average against the M's. McCutcheon's average at .243. Has hit safely in 4 of his last 5 games. 6 hits over his last 19 at bats. That includes the 2-homer game he had against the Dodgers over the weekend. Iwakuma in his 5th year with the Seattle Mariners after starring in Japan. Last year went 9-5 on the season. Not completely healthy last year. Won 14 games 3 years ago with the Mariners. 2-1, and he really got roughed up his last time out. That was in Detroit 6 days ago against the Tigers. Did not get out of the 5th inning. Gave up 5 runs on 11 hits. Walked 3. Now they usually do get into their pen with Iwakuma on the hill. He has thrown 100 or more pitches only twice this season. And a pop up to shallow center. And a nice casual catch made by Marte over the shoulder.
Maybe a little bit more of the center fielder's ball. But Marte able to make that play. You know, it's one of those kind of fearless like things. You're going out there to make that catch. You got to hope that the center fielder is not there, and that's why he's not calling the ball. He's not going to run right over you.
Leonis Martin in center, but it was Ketel Marte who came out to make the catch.
Dealing with a little bit of sun. He might have got a little bit of a late break on that ball.
Now the Pirates, Marte. Starling. No relation to the shortstop of the M's. Polanco with his leg issue. You would figure he'd be running. Strike on Starling Marte. Ben May calling the balls and strikes. There he is behind the dish. Mark Carlson is at first base. He is the crew chief with Mike DeMuro at second and Quinn Wolcott at third. And that's lifted to right, and Franklin Gutierrez has that one measured. A 1-out walk doesn't hurt Iwakuma. Half inning here in Seattle, Washington. And John Neese will be taking the hill. Edgar Martinez, the all-time great Mariners, longtime DH. Edgar's Restaurant here. He is the hitting coach for Scott Service. We'll check out the starting lineup for the Mariners against John Neese. Ketel Marte will be followed by Franklin Gutierrez and Robinson Cano. Nelson Cruz is the DH against lefties this season, slugging .688. Dae-Ho Lee is the first baseman with Kyle Seager at third. Chris Iannetta, Leonis Martin, Sean O'Malley for the M's. Ketel Marte, the 22-year-old, takes the strike, switch hitter.
Neese's numbers brought to you by Hyundai. The ERA is definitely creeping up a little bit. Needs to get some work done on that. Up there, getting close to 5.
Now back our way, but out of play.
Could possibly get one here.
Yeah, I just realized that. One of the few places we really have to pay attention to, and not be looking down. Two and two. Neese in his first year with the Pirates, his 16th start. There's Mercer. Takes care of Marte. A lot of firsts this week for that young man, Adam Frazier. His first big league start. He'll be at second base, teamed with Jordy Mercer as the double play combo. John Jaso, David Freese on the corners. In the outfield, it's Starling Marte, Andrew McCutchen, and Matt Joyce, with Chris Stewart catching John Neese.
Well, hopefully Frazier will see some action in this game when Neese is pitching well. One of the things that happens is he gets a lot of ground balls. I'm sure Frazier would love to get a lot of ground balls also. You get a couple, get into the game, get rid of some of those butterflies. Played in so many baseball games in his life, but getting that start out at second base right now, I mean, he's got to feel awfully excited about.
Adam Frazier got a lot of playing time the other day when Jordy Mercer left to get bumped in the head, and Frazier went into the ball game. This is his first start, and there's the first strike of this at bat to Franklin Gutierrez. 9 homers, 25 RBIs for the 33-year-old Venezuelan, who played in 52 games last year, coming back from a nerve condition that cost him the entire 2014 season, and that could be trouble, but it's foul, thankfully. Would have been extra bases for Franklin Gutierrez. Instead, a foul and a strike, and it's 3-2. For John Neese, this is his third start of the year against an American League club. One was good, one not so good. His first one was in Detroit, his second Pirate start. He went 6 innings, gave up 4 runs, 3 earned. I guess you call that a quality start, so call that a decent one. This ball bounced to Mercer. 2 away.
I like the way this one's getting going here. A couple of ground balls to short.
His other American League start was in Arlington, Texas against the Rangers. Went 6 innings, gave up just 1 run, May the 27th. And Point Park University tweets, a lot of folks watching some late night Bucko action. Late night baseball is the best kind of baseball, says Elisa. Kenzie, I'm okay with the nap I took earlier because I can stay up for hashtag late night bucking now. And Scott, I'm ready for late night bucking and late night raisin. Robinson Cano. See the home run total tied for 4th highest in the American League, tied for 5th in RBIs. Really just now starting to pay some dividends. That gigantic contract he signed December of 2013 for 10 years and $240 million. A former Yankee. .21 homers last year, drove in 79. 3 times he drove in over 100 with New York. And he'll beat the shift. between the second base bag and the third baseman Freese playing that shortstop position. A 2-out single.
Nothing wrong with this, really. It's just another ground ball, and it happened to find a hole. And Greg, I think with a guy like Cano up there, with his power, his ability to hit the ball to the ballpark, that's what you want him doing with 2 outs, nobody on. Go ahead, hit a ground ball through the other side on the infield. You know, that's just fine.
Nelson Cruz.
And I think guys with that home run power, they get up there late in the inning with nobody on base. They got to ignore the shift and try to drive the ball at least into a gap or out of the ballpark. And if they want to just hit a ground ball the other way, try to beat the shift and get on base, then that's not the worst thing that can happen.
Cruz also with 19 homers, tied with his teammate Cano. 51 RBIs. Years old now. 2 years ago led the American League in homers with 40. Following that year, he signed a 4-year $57 million contract to join the Mariners. The 2013 All-Star Nelson Cruz. He and David Freese will always be tied to the hip with the events that took place in the World Series a handful of years ago in St. Louis, when David Freese hit that line drive just over the outstretched glove of Nelson Cruz, then playing right field with the Texas Rangers, went for a game-tying triple, and Freese would become the hero in Game 6, tying that game, but then later in extra innings hitting the game-winning walk-off home run. And now, of course, his teammate is in the bullpen, Neftali Feliz, who was trying to close out that game for the Texas Rangers. An incredible 2011 World Series. 3-2. Jaso backs off.
That's kind of laughing there because Cano told Jason what they were trying to get his attention to get him back off, and Cano got his attention and pointed back there. They want you to play back there.
3 balls, 2 strikes. I think Robbie is telling us some stuff. We'll get to Robbie and Smikowski. There's the strikeout. It is 0-0 after 1.
Pirates and Mariners here in the opener of a 2-game set at Safeco Field. I'm Robbie. It's Mikowski. Tonight is Twitter Tuesday, and Jameson Taillon was our guest and answered some fantastic questions, including this one that came from Pat Welsh, who asked Jameson, who's your biggest influence or help on the team here with the Pirates?
We have a clubhouse full of great guys. Seriously, they're all open arms. They treat me like I'm family from day one. Chris Stewart's been really good as a catcher. They're our backbones. I rely on him. He's made my job a little easier. Pitching staff, all the starters, Garrett, Vogelsong, Nice, Liriano have all been helping me get to the right place on time, wear the right stuff, and I'm watching them and asking them questions all the time.
Well, it shouldn't surprise anyone that the answer to that question is Chris Stewart, Greg. Anybody that spent any time around him shouldn't be surprised that he would help a young guy like Jameson Taillon get acclimated. Of course, Garrett Cole, his best friend, coming up all the way through the minor leagues, who we sit next to right now along with Chad Kuhl. The biggest influence is in helping this young man after 4 big league starts.
Just got a shot there of Chris Stewart next to Ray Searage as Matt Joyce takes the strike. Hopefully we'll see Stewart at bat this 2nd inning. And Chad Kuhl, also a friend of Jameson Taillon. They were
the young
certainly
guns
this year together at AAA Indy. Yeah, the young guns.
All 3 of them in a row. Maybe another one on the horizon.
Tyler Glass now figures not to be too far away. Not a great start for him last night. Strike 3 called.
Well, Joyce did not like this call, and there was a ball that was just barely out of. Well, that did turn the strike zone red, but I mean that's as borderline as you can throw. But technically, it did catch the strike zone.
David Freese. This rotation, which is led by Felix Hernandez. King Felix, this place just erupts anytime he takes the mound. Currently on the disabled list. And not sure about when he might hope to return, but that, needless to say, is a gigantic loss of their rotation for the time being, much like the Pirates losing Garrett Cole.
Yeah, very similar. You get just about anybody at any team, and when that ace goes down, it has ripple effect throughout the whole team, the whole pitching staff for sure.
Garrett Cole threw from the bullpen earlier today before the ball game. Encouraging news. David Freese lifts this one to center. Leonis Martin into the sun for the 2nd out. We'll bring up Adam Frazier and Garrett Cole, our Allegheny Health Network injury update. Throwing in the bullpen today. Brian Vogelsong also threw in the bullpen today, and they hope to throw a sim game before too long, and then not too long after that we'll see Garrett Cole get a rehab down in the minor leagues. And as the Pirates have said recently, they're looking for a return not too soon after the All-Star break.
Sooner we get him back, the better.
Yeah.
So it's very, very good news for the Pirates to have him thrown off the mound and having it go well.
Was 67 miles per hour. Adam Frazier. Look at the super slow-mo from Iwakuma. But he does not seem to be intimidated whatsoever. Saw that when he faced Clayton Kershaw and delivered his first Major League RBI on Sunday night.
Greg, there's some rookies, and I don't know if it means anything or not, and I think you'll agree that you see them in their 5th, 6th at bat, and just by watching them, you can't tell that they haven't been here for 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
And Frazier has that little something about it.
Gets wood on it, but he's retired by the shortstop Marte, and it's a 1-2-3 second for Iwakuma. 0-0. Welcome, Hardy Telecommunications viewers in the Lost River area of West Virginia. Thanks for watching and rooting on your Pittsburgh Pirates. All of us at Root Sports and the Pirates appreciate your support. A lot of the folks down in West Virginia going through the flooding situation. Our thoughts and prayers to so many.
They're really a horrible situation.
It's Dae-Ho Lee. Signed over the winter after starring in South Korea and then into the Japanese league, and he bounces right back to Nice. Lee and Jung Ho Kang certainly familiar with each other, familiar foes, and now John Nice getting the first out of the second will face Kyle Seager.
Looks like Nice getting some ground balls.
Always a good sign.
Yep, that is what you want to see from him. Just 24 pitches so far.
We just saw Kyle's younger brother for the Dodgers, shortstop Corey, put on quite a show at PNC Park. 6 hits and a dozen at bats in that series.
There's another Seager coming also.
Liner toward right. And nicely done by Joyce. Really had that one measured, and then he went into the bright sunshine.
Nice break on that ball. reading it off the bat is so important to be able to get out there and make that easy catch, not have to overextend. I'm going to squint in a little bit. Sun stays up a long time up here. Was it about, where did we land last night? About 9:30 West Coast time?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it was like noon.
Yeah.
This bright sun. Just starting the set by the time we got to the hotel.
.73 degrees at game time tonight. 2-0 on Chris Iannetta. Nice play by Frazier to move far to his left, handle that one. And 1-2-3. Go the Mariners. We played 2 from Safeco Field. 0-0. Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. We'll take a look at the updated National League All-Star voting. You can see still a bunch of Cubs in there to start, but not too late. Starling Marte, Andrew McCutchen still among the top 10 outfielders, and they'll need your help next couple days. Voting ends Thursday 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Go to Pirates.com/vote. Get the Buccos into the Midsummer Classic. It'll take place.
Certainly not the team I would pick.
No. Jordy Mercer faces Iwakuma for the first time. Had his career high tying hitting streak come to an end yesterday, but did walk twice and score a run. And off the bat against Kenley Jansen in the 9th inning after Adam Frazier pinch ran for John Jaso, who had walked with 2 outs, and the Pirates down by just a run. Looked as though Mercer's fly ball toward right might have a shot to go over the head of Yasiel Puig. It did not. And the Pirates ended up dropping that finale after winning the first 3 games of the series against the Dodgers. John Jaso was a pinch hitter with 2 outs in the 9th and drew that free pass. Played for the Mariners in 2012. And Iwakuma, it's his second man looking.
Right on the edge, but it's too close to take with 2 strikes. And you can tell by Mercer's reaction too. It just almost didn't really even wait for the call. He knew it, turned around, walked back. Anytime with 2 strikes, you take a borderline pitch. You got to know going in, 50-50 chance it's not going to go your way. Seems like just from watching Iwakuma just a little bit here, Greg, that first strike is your best shot at getting a middle of the plate something to swing at. He likes to jump ahead with it. It might not be a fastball. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a slow curve, whatever. But he has thrown some very hittable pitches with that very first pitch. Just trying to get strike 1 in there on you. Be interesting to see second time through the lineup if the Pirates will maybe go at him a little more aggressively, chase after, attack some of those early first pitches.
Two and two. Chris Stewart with 1 out here in Seattle in the 3rd inning. Game 1 of 2. The Mariners will come to Pittsburgh later this summer. Jaso on deck. And this is playable for Lee. 2 outs. It'll bring up John Jaso. We're going to take a look at our Quicken Loans rocket arms. Nathan Carnes leads the Mariners with 84 strikeouts this season, and tonight's starter Masashi Iwakuma started the game with 72 strikeouts this season. Taijuan Walker just behind him with 70. Pitching staff has done a really nice job for the Mariners this year. Team ERA of 3.87, second behind the Cleveland Indians. They're 3rd in the American League in strikeouts.
Off to a good start this year.
Scott Service had no managing experience whatsoever before being hired. He does have some coaches on his staff, however, who have had either a big league managerial experience, or we showed you Edgar Martinez earlier. Casey Candell coached for many years. Manny Acta. Mel Stottlemyre Jr. you just saw. His bench coach Tim Bogar. So he's got a good group around him. Even has Mike Hampton in the bullpen. Remember the little lefty, Mike Hampton? Astros, Rockies, Braves. He was something to watch, wasn't he?
Hit and ran the bases.
Boy, he could hit and run with the best of them. What an athlete. Iwakuma has struck out 3. Joyce, Mercer, and Jaso, each man looking. Bottom of the third. Mariners coming to bat against John Neese. Leonis Martin, the center fielder, takes a strike. 263. He leads off most nights against righties anyway, and that is going to be a fair ball.
Well, Marte is all over it.
And what a job by Marte to hold Martin to just a single on what looked to be a sure double.
And you're a left-hand hitter and you hit a ball right dead over the top of the bag. I mean, you got to be thinking, oh, there's an easy double. I mean, it just right over the bag. And look where Marte is and how quick he gets to this ball. And obviously, with his throwing ability, you're not going anywhere if you're the hitter.
And that's a play that will not be shown again, I'm sure, in any highlight videos. But
oh no,
that's a play that should be included when you talk about all-stars or gold glovers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there are people that are watching that, that will appreciate that.
But I think it's important that we point that out and kind of underscore.
Yeah, those are not the highlight things, but those are the kind of plays that over a 6-month season they'll win you a couple of ball games. Just a good hustle type play, good positioning. I mean, he was over there toward that line a little bit to begin with.
Definitely should be applauded when you see a player make a play like that. Sean O'Malley. Neese hoping to get a ground ball here, maybe get 2 outs. O'Malley showing bunt. The rookie who has played in 28 games. Switch hitter, 241 from this side of the plate, 172 from the other side. Mariners don't run much, but Martin has 9. That's a close pitch. 9 steals, leads the team. In fact, really, it's just Martin and Marte. Ketel Marte, the only 2 guys that will run it all for the Mariners. Trying to bunt for a hit, but Neese makes a nice try and instead past Jaso. And it's first and third with nobody out. And finally, the ball gets thrown in by Joyce.
Well, this was about to be an absolute tremendous play. And he's getting to this, but he just couldn't get the good throw off.
What Joyce did do is Joyce prevented the batter runner O'Malley from going to second.
Good job by Jaso.
Yeah, Jaso tripped him.
Tripped him.
So that forced.
I think he missed the bag. I think he had to go back to first to touch the bag, perhaps.
Scott Service is talking to Mark Carlson about that very play right now. But just a very civil discussion, and that's that.
I mean, it was obvious, especially on our slow motion replay, all Jason was doing. That was tongue in cheek when I say tripping. Right. He's just trying to catch the ball. He obviously didn't make a conscious attempt to trip him and put him on the ground.
I like any Health Network.
Did he
Super
touch?
Mo?
I don't think he didn't touch first base, Greg. I'll tell you what, that's a foul ball. That's surprising that Jason didn't get hurt on that.
Yes. That's what I looked at, immediately wondered.
He took a really pretty good blow to the arm.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Speaking of my arm, I got something all over.
What did you do?
There. I don't know. It stains.
You either cut yourself or you spilled stuff and you're eating dinner tonight. Was that spaghetti sauce?
I don't know. What do we have tonight? It's on my shirt, whatever it is.
Jeez, oh man, looked like you're doing a scene from The Godfather or something. You're a mess.
Oh, it's just, I'm always nice.
No.
Yes, it's right there.
It's not that bad.
Stains right there.
You get your Band-Aid, you'll be fine.
I don't know. I'm not cut. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of food. I know how. You know what happens is you just get a little bit on the table and your arms
That
on the
happens,
table.
sure. Well, trouble here for sure.
Now we're going to get out of it here.
First and third, nobody out. Marte was showing bunt. He's looking down at third base coach Manny Acta. Martin went to third on the error. Infield a hit for O'Malley.
Foul ball. Strike two. Was that ball caught?
No.
Did she? Oh, she was getting a high five. I thought maybe she caught it. Congratulations!
She scrambled to get it.
Congratulations on picking it up.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Great play.
By the way, she's sitting in the upper deck. That was a long foul ball.
Now it's 3-2.
And he's not happy with himself on that pitch. Trying to make a good spot on the hands and just threw it way inside of it. Ended up being just a waste pitch.
Well, it should be 2 anyway, and that's what the Pirates wanted there.
Yep.
1-0, but
take
2
that,
outs.
Take that every time. Every time. I mean, there's no score in the 9th inning. You won't take that. But now, that's just fine.
So good work to get 2 outs with that 1 ground ball. No RBI for Marte as Martin scores. Strike on Gutierrez. He chopped the ball to Mercer in the first. He's got 2 ground ball outs in that first inning before Robinson Cano's single. Then he struck out Nelson Cruz. A 1-2-3 second. In this inning, just a ground ball inside the third base bag. The bunt hit and another bouncer. Freeze to J-So. Unearned run, 1-0 Mariners.
It's time for the Toyota RAV 4th inning. The all-wheel drive RAV Hybrid has performance that will make you rethink hybrid. Let's go Bucks!
And back here at Safeco Field, and the tribute to Dave Niehaus, the longtime voice of the Seattle Mariners, who passed away almost 6 years ago now. And they had that statue up on the main concourse, unveiled in September of 2011. My, oh my. Beloved, the late Dave Niehaus. Gregory Polanco takes a strike. Of course, Dave was around for the tough times early in this franchise's history, and then a great unforgettable postseason run. That regular year where they set all kinds of records, and now Polanco. And look at this. Huh. You don't see that too often. That certainly looked like he was headed foul.
Yeah, most of the time when they come off the grass, that gives them enough momentum to get over the chalk line. And you know, I can understand them letting this one roll, but it looked like it hit that little bump right there as it hit the chalk, where somebody had a cleat mark or something, and it stopped its momentum from going foul and actually kicked it back the other direction. But I like that. Nobody there. They got the shift on. Now with 2 outs, I don't like that. But with nobody out, heck yeah. Start the inning off with a base runner. Beautiful.
See what McCutchen can do. As we said, we don't expect Polanco to be running. He has 9 steals, but still favoring that leg a bit. Oh, McCutchen wanted that one. Iwakuma has given up 17 home runs, tied for 6th most in the league. McCutchen popped out in the first. Toward right center field, and a nice catch made by Franklin Gutierrez.
I didn't think he was going to get to that one, Greg. That was really an impressive to see him run that ball down off the bat. I'm thinking, oh, there's McCutchen doing it again. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier about him, that driving the ball hard to this gap is a good sign for him. And I thought he really ripped this one. This was going to be extra bases. Gutierrez playing him a little bit in that gap, and that helped him out as far as getting back there and making that catch.
Gold Glover in 2010. But you're encouraged by that.
But that's
gap, right. That's what you want.
That's what I like. Yeah. I like to see him hitting that ball hard that direction. Over the years, especially at our ballpark, how many of his home runs have been to that right center field area, the stands?
A bunch.
Yeah, that's where I think you see him hit the ball hard once a game that direction when he's locked in.
Nice play there by Marte to double up Marte.
Not easy to do. Very nice work by the defense of the Mariners this inning.
Pirates Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Chevy Tracks and your Western PA Chevy dealers. And by Barrel. With express service, you're in and out in no time. Visit barrelservice.com to find the location near you. Let's go Bucks!
Robinson Cano fouls the first pitch off and out of play here in the bottom of the fourth. Cano singled with 2 outs in the first. Basically a ground ball between the second base bag and the third baseman David Freese playing the shortstop position. And Cano goes the other way again. This time lines it over the head of David Freese into left.
And this time there is nobody out, so he gets things going.
Barrel Automotive League leader stat. Robinson Cano, his ranks in the American League this season, the 19 homers, tied for 4th, 53 ribbies, tied for 5th. He is tied for 3rd in extra base hits and 2nd in total bases this year in the American League. Mark Trumbo, of course, leads everybody with 22 homers. The Orioles, Mark Trumbo, Todd Frazier now with the White Sox, and Edwin Encarnacion of the Blue Jays with 21 home runs. And then Cano and Cruz and Carlos Beltran of the Yankees with 19 each.
How do they get that stain out of his shoulder every day? I don't get it. Or you think that's
I think you two should talk.
Well, I need to ask some advice.
The stain on your sleeve and that his shoulder.
That's pine tar all over his shirt. I mean, that's got to be tough to get out. Sticky, gooey pine tar with dirt mixed in.
Can't be easy being an equipment manager. You got to know all the tricks of the trade.
Well, I know one thing. It's long hours.
Yeah. And strike 3 called. Second time he's gotten Cruz. First time was swinging.
That's a heck of a pitch. He's got him set up for fastball inside. Set this up very nice. And just drilled it. Cruz might not like that, might not like the call, but after that, that's one of those. I know it's a cliche, but you tip your hat to the pitcher, say, "Hey, you got me."
I like using tip your helmet now when it's a batter.
Helmet. Okay. Tip your helmet. All right. I'll say that. Tip your helmet.
Ran into a buzzsaw, we tip our helmet. Yeah. Dae-Ho Lee.
You just hope you don't get pitched like that in a high leverage situation.
One ball, one strike. 10 home runs for Dae-Ho Lee. A star in South Korea for a number of years, and then he went on to play 4 years in Japan and became the first Korean-born player to win Japan Series MVP last year. Last week he turned 34. And there is Jung Ho Gang on the night off. But very familiar with Dae-Ho Lee. Their years playing against each other in the Korean baseball organization. He is seated next to his good buddy Gregory Polanco. Korean fans on hand here. Lee hit 31 home runs last year in Japan, drove in 98 runs. He grew up in Busan, South Korea. And about 126 miles directly east. The home of Pirate Jung Ho Gang. Gwangju, Korea is where Gang grew up. Man, that didn't miss by much, and now it's 3-2 as he battles Nice. Nice got him to hit a comebacker in the second. Lee has walked only 7 times unintentionally in about 155 plate appearances. But he walks here. Two aboard, 1 out. And it will bring up Kyle Seager. Enjoy a movie night under the stars at PNC Park, July the 14th. Watch a baseball classic on the scoreboard at PNC Park. The Sandlot. Tickets are only $5. Get your tickets at pirates.com/movie night. Coming up July the 14th.
Sandlot, isn't that with the scary dog?
Yeah. One of Tommy Sant's favorite movies. Tommy Sant is here, former Pirates minor league manager, player in the Pirate system, and longtime coach. Up from Portland. Kyle Seager. Lined a ball to right field in the second. This time drives a ball to right center field. Stays in the ballpark, and Seager nearly made it to second base. Didn't realize that Lee had held up. He had assumed that Cano was going to score.
Well, this is absolutely ridiculous by Cano. What is going on? How long has he been playing the game of baseball, Greg?
A lot of years.
Even if this ball is caught, tagging up, going to third, big deal. Now there's 2 outs.
Right.
What is he doing? If he is halfway, he walks home on this. Amazing.
That's a Meziga.
Great break.
Yeah.
You get that double play ball now, and they come up with nothing.
And chance, boy, this would be just a huge break if he can get Ionetta to bounce into a twin killing.
Can't go back and tag on that.
Couple of strikes now on Ionetta. Bucko pitching coach Ray Searage working hard with these
Get that ground
starters.
ball.
Yeah, fly ball to center and deep. McCutcheon makes a fine catch on the line drive. As though that might sail over his head. It's a sacrifice fly, line out, 2-0 Mariners.
Boy, that was just a tremendous play by Kutch. Get up there and make that catch. That ball's just hammered. Kutch on his horse. Nice timing of the leap. Heck of a play.
That is the second out.
You know, go back to that play before that too. If
Nice has it go past him, and play made for the final out.
getting out of that with 1 run is not bad.
Run here on Twitter Tuesday. Jameson Taillon was our guest, and he was asked by Garrett, what is the biggest difference between the big leagues and the minor leagues?
Every game means a little more up here. Every pitch means a little more. There's more focus on everything. You know, in the minor leagues, I'd say as a pitcher, there might be 1 or 2 guys in every lineup who can hurt you. In the big leagues, it's kind of all the way through. 1 through 8, 1 through 9 can all do some damage.
You know, Greg and Bob, Clint Hurdle talked about this a couple days ago when discussing Chad Kuhl, the biggest difference between good minor league numbers and major league numbers in the translation. He said, hey, there are always holes. You can always work your way out of jams. He was talking about Tyler Glasnow and the amount of walks he had been issuing recently. And Jameson Taillon here learning very quickly there are very few, if any, holes in a big league lineup.
And he'll be tested tomorrow night when he makes his 5th major league start right here in Seattle. As Matt Joyce leads off, down 2. This second time around, and now Ben May, the home plate umpire, says knock it off, I've heard enough. And somebody just got tossed. Yep. Don't know if it was Clint Hurdle. It's possible it was someone else on that bench. But Clint Hurdle now will give Ben May an earful. As Joyce did not like the initial call. Clint Hurdle was notably frustrated on the homestand with the umpiring crews against the Giants and the Los Angeles Dodgers, and now Hurdle gets tossed. So somebody else on the bench had been ejected previously, and Ben May gives him the heave-ho. We'll find out who on the Pirates bench had been ejected initially. Might be Jeff Branson, the hitting coach.
Yeah, it could be. I saw him walking down from the railing.
There's Dave Jouse, Brad Fisher, a couple of Pirates coaches. Ben May. Pirates saw him recently in New York, the last road trip. He was behind home plate when Noah Syndergaard beat the Pirates. Let's see who this was, the first guy to get tossed. Difficult to tell, but no problem deciphering this one. Two and two. Dave Joust, the Pirates bench coach, becomes the manager.
Got his glasses on.
Getting serious.
Yep. Checking out the lineup.
I think Jeff Branson was probably the guy that got ejected.
Yeah, he walked down. He was up on the railing and he left.
Nice job there. Left side wide open and whacks it into left. Matt Joyce starts off this 5th inning with a base hit.
Several guys going the through the open side on the shifts tonight. You see the shift, that side of the infield wide open. And Joyce just the pitch even a little bit on the inside half. Inside out swing, stayed inside the baseball. Nobody out. Pirates in business.
That ball just catches the corner freeze. Asking Ben May about that location. Just did hit that corner. Nothing in 2 on David Freese. 30 runs batted in to go along with 6 home runs. He has hit into 6 double plays. Francisco Cervelli, who's on the disabled list, has hit into 8, the most on the club. Right side of the infield pretty open, with Lee holding the runner. Frees some time in the American League with the Angels after he had been traded over from the St. Louis Cardinals. So he is a little more familiar with the Mariners, these surroundings. And he has a .240 career average against Iwakuma with a couple of homers. The rookie Adam Frazier is on deck. Unearned run in the third for the M's, and a run in the fourth on the sacrifice fly. Pirates got a call there.
That definitely was there. This is what happens. I mean, you get some, you lose some. That ball right there, just at the top of the knees. Earlier I said that when you take a borderline strike, it's kind of a flip of the coin which way the call is going to go. That time it went Freeze's way.
Manager Scott's service. On the other side is now Dave Jouse. A pick by Ionetta, now 3-2, and we'll see if Dave Jouse has Joyce running. Glenn Hurdle has pointed out time and time again that when he does get ejected, he goes back into his office and he lets his bench coach, in this case it's Dave Jouse, over the years whoever has been his assistant, takes over. There goes Joyce, and it's lined towards center. Joyce didn't pick it up right away, and gunning it to first base, and a nice job by Lee to come off the bag, take the throw from Martin. Still have time to step on first for the double play.
I think Lee was reading Joyce more than anything else. Realized, okay, I got time. I'll get off. I'll make this catch. As he could have decided, if it was going to be a close play, just to try and stretch and maybe catch that, maybe not. But he can kind of see both situations. He knows where the ball is. He knows how far Joyce went. So he takes the time to get off the bag and come back. Well, that was a tough little short hop to deal with there. Kind of got an in-between hop.
Slap toward left. And the catch made by O'Malley.
Good defensive plays on both sides tonight.
Of the Penguin Stanley Cup Final on a new In the Room. Here's Sidney Crosby and Matt Murray mic'd up and join the players on the ice as they hoist the cup after their Game 6 win in San Jose. In the Room debuts tomorrow at 9 on Root Sports. And they're in the pen, and we are here in Seattle. Pirates and Pirates Mariners series. Sean O'Malley will lead things off, a bunt single in the third. And tried it again. '28-year-old Richland, Washington native. Signed as a minor league free agent last January, and Jaso will make that play. Nice has been getting his fair share of ground ball outs. Some bad luck in that third inning. A break in the fourth after the leadoff base hit by Robinson Cano. He did walk Dae-Ho Lee. Kyle Seager hit that fly ball to the right center gap that short hopped the wall, and no runs scored. As Cano went back to tag up. Chris Iannetta then lined out to center, and Martin bounced out. Pirates picked up Nice over the winter from the New York Mets. And the Neil Walker deal, the Mets are trailing the Nationals in D.C. 3-0.
Nice right now doing a pretty good job, I would say, in this ball game. As you mentioned, that third inning run, just kind of some bad luck. But throwing a lot of ground balls, and very important keeping the ball in the yard here.
Jaso, oh my goodness. Jaso making an excellent attempt. Looked as though he was going to magically appear with that ball, and instead takes a hop, and on his way there he hands the young fan a souvenir. But Jaso, a great effort.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Greg, I thought he caught that. You know, I didn't see him snatch it back up off the ground. I thought he had caught that as he was running toward the stands.
Pretty smooth.
Yep. But back to Nice. There's a lot of power in this lineup. Doing a good job, keeping them in the yard. And a couple of guys. Cruz, Cano with 19 home runs.
Oh, 0-2 the count remains on Ketel Marte. Just a weak pop up, and just a matter of whether Stewart would find it quickly enough, and he does.
It's hard to hit a pop fly that short.
Yeah. Bucks and PNC Bank have teamed up, offering Pirates fans a special deal. Save $5 on select Sunday through Thursday tickets, plus get $5 in loaded value. Good for concessions and merchandise at PNC Park. Use your PNC Pirates Affinity card. Purchase tickets. Get more details at pirates.com/PiratesCard. And we should note that the Pirates have one final brief homestand before the All-Star break and a 3-game series showdown against the Chicago Cubs starting Friday night, July the 8th. July the 8th, 7:05. Saturday night, July the 9th at 7:15, and Sunday afternoon, July the 10th, before the All-Star break.
Wasn't that last series last year against the Cardinals?
Yes, just before the break.
Very exciting series.
Well, the Pirates hoping for a really successful road trip and maybe getting a little bit of help between now and then from teams like the Reds, who are in the 15th inning now with the Cubs.
You just have to keep playing every night.
Yep. See what happens.
There's obviously a work to do. The Pirates are going through that tough month of June. Nothing to do about it now, but look forward to July.
Pirates fans, Expos fans.
Don't see a lot of Expos hats anymore. It's good to see one here and there.
That Expos team became the Washington Nationals several years ago. 3-2 on Gutierrez with 2 outs. Hoping Cano leads off next inning. Gutierrez suffered a nerve condition that kept him out all of 2014. Ankylosing spondylitis, type of arthritis that affects the spine. He didn't miss by much, but it was ball 4, and so Cano will come to the plate. Second walk for Nice. Franklin Gutierrez was just happy to return last year, played in 52 games. And having a solid 2016. Former teammates with the Mariners, J-So on at first, holding Gutierrez. Cano singled to center his first time up and lined a ball to left his last at bat. And now Gutierrez winds up at second base.
It starts him off with a curveball and just hits it right on top of the plate. Couldn't quite tell what that hit, but for some reason it made a right turn. Didn't stay in front of Stewart. That was a crucial one to try and keep in front of you here with 2 outs and a runner at first. Anything you could do to keep those guys out of scoring position.
So he's looking at that right hand.
I wonder if it hit his hand, and that's where it went, what knocked it off to the side. Definitely working that wrist back and forth.
The 8th wild pitch uncorked by John Nice this season, the most in the National League. He has also allowed 18 homers. Only Max Scherzer of the Nationals has given up more. He's given up 20 dingers. It's a cool looking view from way up top. And a base hit will make it 3-0. Robinson Cano singles to 7. He's 3 for 3. 54 RBIs on the season now for him.
Well, this wasn't exactly a seeing eye ground ball either. He hit this one very hard. Very talented hitter.
And he's hit the ball.
That's the spot now. If you have
lined it to the left and now the right center.
When you have a true shift on, that's where the shortstop plays. They didn't have the shift on that time. Mercer was still over on the shortstop side of second base.
Ray Searage pays him a visit. Well, you will never go hungry sitting in the Sugardale all-you-can-eat seats at PNC Park. Eat unlimited hot dogs, hamburgers, soda, ice cream, and more. Tickets start at just $45. So find out more at pirates.com/all-you-can-eat. the all-you-can-eat seats at PNC Park. Here at Safeco Field, you see 90 pitches for John Neese. Down now 3-0, and Nelson Cruz to the plate. He has struck him out twice. The only 2 strikeouts tonight for Neese. Two and 1. Costly wild pitch. With Gutierrez moving to second, that allowed Cano's base hit to bring home the Mariners right fielder. And Cano collecting his 54th run batted in. Drilled deep. And gone. Nelson Cruz, his 20th. 5-0 Seattle.
Yeah, that got up there well into the second depth. When this ball is touched off, it's just, is it going to hook is the only question. Didn't hook much, stayed pretty straight.
The 19th home run that Neese has allowed on the season, and for Nelson Cruz, 20 home runs.
Yeah, this one gets out of there long ways.
The Mariners have homered in a major league high 62 games this season.
They have hit a ton of home runs.
That's a fair ball. Marte will hold another runner to a single.
They might argue that.
Dae-Ho Lee. Do you think the fan got it?
I think he touched it, and I saw the I looked down to the Seattle bench, and they were kind of like, hey, what's going on there?
Dae-Ho Lee signals to left.
But I think if anything, though, the fan maybe slowing the ball down actually did the Mariners. See right there, went off his right hand. Did the Mariners a favor, because if it comes off harder, Marte just gets to it sooner.
Nelson Cruz crushes his 20th home run. They have played, the Mariners have played 76 games, and they've homered in 62 of them.
They can pound it.
113 home runs this season as a team. That is tied for the second most with the Blue Jays in the American League. Baltimore's at 120. And now Neese really fighting to keep this thing together as the Pirates bullpen called into action. Archimedes Caminero starts to loosen up.
Yeah, pitch count is starting to be an issue now with Neese also, but besides the score. As he's getting close to 100.
Seager line to right, his first at bat last time up. Drove one deep to the gap in right center. Hard hit past Frazier. And a 3-2 pitch, Kyle Seager singles.
Another ball that, even though this was a ground ball, it's smoked through there. Frazier only had enough time for a step and a dive.
That's going to be it for Nice. He's not going to get out of the 5th inning, and another one of these starts. The Pirates pitcher that forces the bullpen to be called upon early. All right, Rob, thank you. Chris Bryant's base hit broke that tie against J.J. Hoover, and then the Baez granny. So looks like the Cubs will come away with a 15-inning victory. Meanwhile, Pirates trail here 5-0, and Archimedes Caminero facing Chris Iannetta with 2 on and 3 in the inning.
You see Caminero's stats on the season. Wildness has been his problem, as he has walked more than he has struck out.
Popped up, and it's going to be over by the first base dugout and out of play. John Nice, after he was taken out, shows his frustrations.
Yeah, it's very, very tough when you're a starting pitcher and you go out there and you have an outing like this. It's not just yourself. There's that feeling of letting the team down because you gave up the 5 runs and it's just the bottom of the 5th.
And it came with 2 outs. He gets the first 2 outs routinely.
There's certain positions in sports where I think that you have that if you fail, it's not just it's like I always think about a cornerback, say in football, when they get burnt and it's 6 points, it's got to be a long walk back to the sideline. It's that same feeling when you're walking off that mound after a bad start and it's the middle of the game or early and you've been taken out, walking in to that quiet dugout and everybody staying away from you. It's not pleasant. You certainly have you feel that responsibility to the club, to the team. It wasn't like you went out and you went 0 for 4 that day. But that's why the W and the L gets put next to your name, not a position player's. Oh, Greg, that one got me. Remember what we were talking about earlier, the foul balls? I just turned to look out there and
coming at you.
Yeah, I gotta start paying attention. We're a little higher than some of the older stadiums that we used to be in, but you can still get a foul ball in this one.
Caminero looking for the final out. 3-2. The count remains on Iannetta. A couple of scoreless innings on Thursday last week for Caminero against the Giants. Chris Iannetta, after 4 years with the Angels, joining the Seattle Mariners. More Pirate fans on hand. Dan and Kara Wolf are here from Katanning. Caminero does indeed get the final out, finally getting Iannetta. Pirates have their work cut out for them. They're down 5 runs. In Seattle, 5-0 M's head to the 6th. Checking out all the goodies available here, some souvenirs from different clubs. And check out the Volkswagen National League Central Division standings. The Pirates are, as we said, 13 back. The Cardinals were winners earlier, and the Cubs are close to putting up a W against the Reds. 2 down in the 15th. Cardinals won 8-4 at Kansas City. Michael Wacha beat Yordano Ventura. So looking for base runners and looking for a big comeback tonight against Hisashi Iwakuma. So far it's been a bounce back start for him after being roughed up in Detroit. This veteran Iwakuma, who thought he might end up signing with the Oakland Athletics back in the winter of 2010-2011. The A's had won the right to negotiate with the top posting fee bid of $19 million before the 2011 year, but they couldn't reach an agreement on a deal. He had been hoping for a 4-year contract. Played another year in Japan and then became a free agent, as this one is lifted lazily to center. And Mercer is the first out here in the top of the 6th. Iwakuma then signed initially a one-year deal with these Seattle Mariners. After 9 years of pro ball in Japan, that system, you become a free agent. And he has remained with this club, and he is moving up the all-time wins list from Japanese-born players. Jerry Dipoto is the general manager. Had falling out in Anaheim, a little power struggle with manager Mike Scioscia. So he came to Seattle. And they are hoping for some winning years here. It has been a bit of a struggle. 14 years without a postseason for the Mariners. Robinson Cano, that big contract that was signed before the 2014 season. Looking like things are getting better here, and a lot of the groundwork was laid by Jack Sarincic, the Newcastle native. Several years the general manager, and now he does some work for us on our pre and post game Root Sports, Jack, and also on our radio network flagship station 93.7 The Fan. He'll be on the post game tonight. Be interesting to hear his take on the Mariners. Some of the players that he brought in, and some of the players now that Jerry Dipoto has signed or traded for. If Iwakuma does get a W, and there's a frustrated Chris Stewart. Ben May calls him out on strikes. That looked like that might have actually picked up the bottom of the zone. Already two gone, Jeff Branson and Clint Hurdle.
Yeah, right on the bottom edge. You can see it light up the strike zone, but just looking like it as far as where the ball was caught.
And the way it was caught.
Pitch looks low.
Well, Iannetta brought it up just as Stewart was turning to watch. He saw the catcher bring that glove way up.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, the catcher must have thought it was low because he's trying to bring it up to make it look like it was a strike.
Up to John Jaso to get it going here. 2-0. Spent the 2012 season with the Mariners. He says that's where that funky stance began. Way back, actually, when the Mariners opened up the season in Tokyo against the Oakland Athletics. Jason Vargas then was on the disabled list, was a pitcher for the Mariners, and was pitching in a simulated game the day before the opener, and he was one of the hitters and got in the box, decided to do a little Dustin Ackley, former teammate who had an open stance, but this very exaggerated open look from Jaso. Now 32 years old, hit .276 with 10 homers and 50 runs batted in for the Mariners in 2012. And he'll be an easy out. That's going to be an easy inning for Masashi Iwakuma. As the sun begins to set in the Pacific Northwest, the Pirates trail 5-0. scoreboard as we move to the bottom half of the 6th inning here in Seattle, the first of this 2-game interleague series. This is how we got there. 3rd inning. The Mariners pick up the first run, a double play hit by Tel Marte. Leonis Martin, who had gone to 3rd on an errant throw from John Neese, and then this line drive by Chris Iannetta in the 4th inning would score Robinson Cano. The bases were loaded with 1 out, limited the damage, but then with 2 outs in the 5th, a walk, a single, after Matt Joyce had been called, a strike had been called on him. Eventually ejections from Clint Hurdle and Jeff Branson, the Pirates hitting coach, and then moments later the home run by Nelson Cruz, a 3-run shot to give the Mariners this 5-0 lead, and this ball hit foul. Cruz's 20th of the season. The ejections of Hurdle and hitting coach Jeff Branson occurred in the top of the 5th with Matt Joyce at the plate. And then that damage in the bottom of the 5th with 2 outs. A walk to Franklin Gutierrez. A wild pitch, an RBI single by Robinson Cano, and the home run by Cruz. And the Pirates have managed only 2 hits against Iwakuma, and kind of a foreboding statement from Bob Walk, but so true at the start. He said these are the type of pitchers in Iwakuma that seem to give the Pirates troubles.
Yeah, I would really, I'd like to see somebody with a 95 mile-an-hour fastball most of the time. Club's a very good fastball hitting team. It's the guys that live out on the edges of the strike zone and change a lot of speeds. If they have their command and can do that, well, the Pirates can have a little bit of a difficult time, and they are tonight.
Martin led off the 3rd with just a slowly hit ground ball inside the 3rd base bag. And that led to the first run.
Pirates average versus fastballs is .312, which is 3rd best in all of baseball. All 30 teams.
Seems like we've talked about that for a number of years.
Yeah, they've been a very good fastball hitting team.
Broken bat, bouncer, foul.
And the average on breaking balls is 187, which is 26th out of 30 teams.
Man.
If you're the opposition,
yeah,
what are you going to throw them? Breaking balls or fastballs? And when you have a guy that's a off-speed type guy, add a little, take a little away, in, out, that kind of thing, sometimes you can get games like this.
Caminero has struck out the 2 men he's faced in relief of John Neese. Bring up Sean O'Malley. We're going to get to our day automotive, this day in Pirates history, and veteran Pirate fans will long remember this day. 1970 Pirates sweep a doubleheader from the Cubs. 3-2, 4-1 the final scores in the final 2 games in the history of Forbes Field. Forbes Field had been the Pirates' home since 1909, and 61 years later, almost to the day, final games were played. Doubleheader sweep of the Cubs. 40,918 were on hand that day in Oakland. That was the largest crowd at Forbes Field in 14 years. A ball that was bounced to Bill Mazeroski, stepping on the bag for the final out. Doubleheader sweep that day at Forbes Field had given the Pirates a 7-game winning streak and gotten them to within just percentage points of the first place Mets. Oh, nicely done. 3 straight Ks for Caminero.
A fork ball.
I think so. It's a pitch that was very effective last year for him at that stretch, and Doesn't seem like we have seen much of it, and that might have a lot to do with him throwing strikes. There's another off-speed pitch. Pirates have been very patient with Caminero, who spent some time on the disabled list and started working at AAA Indianapolis on some things, and starting to see some encouraging signs from him recently since he's been back. Last 7 games before tonight, an ERA of 1.80.
Well, there's no secret for why he was very good his first year with the Pirates and the struggles this year. It all comes down to control. It's simple as that. Good hard fastball, good hard thrower, great stuff. But you got to throw strikes. And this year, it hasn't been there.
Again.
Is it splitter, fork ball? Form of a changeup really is what it is. And when 92 is a changeup when you throw 98.
Fly ball toward Marte. Starling Marte tries to make a sliding catch in foul territory.
Well, he's been quick to get to those balls on that side today. Thought he was going to get to this one.
That ball's going to come up and hit him in the face again. That's all we need.
No, that's not.
Another bruised cheek. Kept them out for some time.
Don't want that to happen.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Still 2-2. Marte has bounced to short twice and fouled out. Drives this deep to right center. And Marte into second base with a 2-out double.
This is what hitters should be trying to do when they have 2 outs, nobody on. We see guys trying to bunt sometimes, but you want the extra base hits so you can get yourself in the scoring position. You're able to find the gap with that long fly.
Well, Caminero has now faced 4 batters. There's the first hit after 3 straight strikeouts. Franklin Gutierrez got it going last inning. That 2-out free pass through the walk against Nice. Later scored on a Robinson Cano single. Cano 3 for 3. Down on strikes. So he punches out his 4th. Still 5-0. Our Nissan road ahead for tomorrow night, the finale of this brief 2-game series. Jameson Taillon makes his 5th Major League start. Veteran Wade Miley, the Seattle Mariners notes page tells us that he will be making his 14th start of the season. And he's coming off the disabled list after going on the DL initially with left shoulder impingement. There is Jameson Taillon to make the start tomorrow. Gregory Polanco. Bucks need to get something going here against Hisashi Iwakuma. Only 76 pitches thrown. Only 2 hits, one the bunt single by Polanco leading off the 4th. Looking for his 54th career win in the major leagues. Daisuke Matsuzaka is 3rd on the all-time wins list among Japanese-born players, and this ball ripped into left for Polanco, who can trot into second with a leadoff double to left. He's on base for the 3rd straight time.
I could tell the way he was running there, just not full strength, just kind of hitting it. Knows he got that ball up against the wall, and so he could just kind of cruise a little bit in the second base. He just not pushing it at all. No reason to. Once he got around first, he really backed off the accelerator.
.24 doubles for Polanco. McCutchen has popped up and hit a ball to the warning track in right center.
Just been in and out, up and down. Fastball, changeup, slow curveball. It has been the art of pitching.
Fools McCutchen, 1-2.
That looked like the split pitch, the fork ball, whatever name you want to put on it. Always love what Elroy Face said about the difference between the 2 pitches. Definitely a classic. Somebody asked him what the difference between the forkball and the splitter was. It's a few $1 million a year.
True statement. From the Baron of the bullpen. Great Elroy Face.
Popular pitch for forever, but it used to be called a forkball. Bruce Sutter named it a splitter. He really is the guy that kind of brought the pitch back to popularity.
Well, Polanco is going to try to advance, and he will.
Oh, the leg looked pretty good there.
Bring up Starling Marte with a runner 3rd and 1 out. Marte has flied to right and bounced into a double play. And just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
That was a good time for Marte to maybe try and push it a little bit, getting into 3rd base.
Polanco gets in there after tagging up.
Polanco, I mean.
Chance for Marte's
at the plate.
Bring in a run. Better yet, how about bringing in a couple?
Well, at least one. Ground ball is short. You get one in.
Mentioned again that Iwakuma has given up 17 homers. A nice play by shortstop Ketel Marte in the fourth that turned that hard hit ball by Starling into an inning-ending double play. One and one. Iwakuma looking to get through 7 innings. He had a string of 5 consecutive starts, going 7 exactly, before being roughed up against the Tigers last time out. Most wins by a Japanese-born pitcher, Hideo Nomo. 123 wins in the major leagues. Hiroki Kuroda, who pitched for the Dodgers and the Yankees, won 79 games. And we mentioned earlier Daisuke Matsuzaka, 56 Ws. Iwakuma looking for his 54th win. This Mariners team has signed its fair share of Japanese players. Of course, Ichiro, most famous of them all, arrived in 2001. For a short time, they had a closer, Kaz Sasaki. Line toward right field and over the head of Gutierrez. And Starling Marte is just absolutely flying. Head first dive for no reason. Could have stood up, walked in with a triple.
Could have rounded the back.
Yeah. That's not too far off the truth, actually.
Amazing how fast he gets around the bases. Now, right now, I'm like watching the flight of the ball and thinking, yeah, it's in the gap. And then I try to find where he is, and he's already more than halfway to second. Heck, they're throwing the ball home practically.
Marte will pick up his 30th RBI, makes it 5-1.
Yeah, and now that another great opportunity to score another run because he's at third base with 1 out.
Mel Stottlemyre Jr. with the interpreter out there.
The infield again will be playing back.
And they'll activate their bullpen. And Diaz starts to throw. Matt Joyce comes to the plate, and the third baseman Kyle Seager will play on the edge of the infield grass. Last time up, Joyce hit a ball right in that area. Pops it up. 2 outs. It'll bring up David Freese. Follow Pirates Baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Need a 2-out hit from Freese. He lined the ball hard into center field in the 5th. That turned out to be a double play with Matt Joyce running on a 3-2 pitch.
Are they really playing bunch in the outfield?
And this is towards center field, and that drops in for a base hit. David Freese brings home Marte. It is 5-2.
Nice top spin on that ball as it got out there and then just dove. Got down in a hurry, which it needed to.
Another look at the David Freese line. Single to center. See what Adam Frazier can do now. Lined out to left his last at bat. For Freese, his 31st Pirate Ribby. Iwakuma slowed it down, 69 miles an hour. Pitch count by inning. This veteran, Sashi Iwakuma.
Maybe last hitter no matter what. Getting up there close to 100 pitches now. What'd you say earlier, Greg? He's only thrown 100 a couple of times.
Twice, yep. Has the rookie behind 1 ball and 2 strikes. Adam Frazier was leading the International League in hitting at the time of his promotion. And look at this kid. Adam Frazier, a 1-2 pitch, smacks it between the shortstop Marte and the third baseman Seager.
You know, the things we talk about with Tyone about mound presence and stuff, you see the same kind of stuff with Frazier. You know, last time when he was up, I believe it mentioned about how from the second, third at bat in the big league, it's like, wow, he looks like he's been up there for a long time, and that's a very you know, tough thing to see in these young players that come up, that they don't get overwhelmed. Frazier's got it.
And he knocks out Iwakuma. Pitching change.
Pirates Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Kenny Ross, Total Confidence Pricing, and by Levin Furniture. the official furniture and mattress supplier to the Pittsburgh Pirates. For the best quality, service, and value, shop Levin's. Let's go Bucks!
The Pirates are down 3 with 2 on and 2 outs here in Seattle. Jordy Mercer faces the rookie Edwin Diaz, called up from Double-A earlier this month.
Yeah, look at those strikeouts, Greg. 19 in 11 innings. Pretty impressive. Definitely going to see a different type pitcher than they've been facing all night.
More heat, and that has been something the Pirates have preferred. Fouled back and out of play. Oh, Bob Walk fan.
I'm not sure about that, Greg.
Oh,
I
I'm
think that's just
positive.
walk the plank. Yeah.
Because I know when you sign your name, your autograph, you always use that the plank look of the L.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. You're right.
It takes you a long time, though. You fill in that part of the L. Yeah. A couple of strikes.
Yeah, that one at 98. Definitely need our fastball hitting bats. Diaz is pumping them in there.
Popped them up. For the final out, Pirates get a couple and leave 2. Trail 5-2. The bottom of the 7th inning. Yep. Ken Griffey Jr. will be going into the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown in 26 days. Will be the first Mariner, the first player to go in as a Mariner in Cooperstown, and there'll be a great contingent of current and former M's on hand in Cooperstown, New York, as the first pitch is lined toward left, and there is Starling Marte on the run to rob Robinson Cano of what would have been his 4th hit. Ken Griffey Jr., the first overall pick by the Mariners in 1987 out of Denora. Of course, the hometown of Stan Musial. 13-time All-Star, the 1997 American League MVP, a 10-time Gold Glove winner. setting a record, receiving 99.32% of the vote. Junior will be going into Cooperstown.
You know, if the guys that get into Cooperstown, Greg, there seems to be always that elite group that, you know, it makes it a little special.
To center field, Nelson Cruz, who homered his last time up, will fly out 2 away.
Well, this will be a special year up there with Junior going in. I mean, it's just an amazing career he had, and such a complete player, two-way player that could do everything. The hitting, the power, the speed, the incredible defense that he displayed as a center fielder. I'll never forget the show he put on at Three River Stadium in that home run hitting contest, the All-Star game years ago. What a talent.
Helped lead them to that 1995, 97 division titles. If he had stayed healthy, that was just the one thing. He played the game with kind of reckless abandon, with really kind of disregard for his body, and that cost him so many games over the years. But still a Hall of Famer.
You know, another thing too with Griffey that we have to bring it up is the era that he played in, especially, you know, toward the end of that era, is the performance-enhancing drug era, and you never ever heard anything, not even a rumor, that Junior was ever involved in anything like that.
Dae-Ho Lee singles.
Playing the game in a very clean, professional way, Ken Griffey Jr.
By the numbers, 23 seasons, most with the Mariners, of course, then on to Cincinnati, finished up with the White Sox, but 630 career home runs, despite missing a bunch of games. 6th all-time on the home run list and 15th all-time with 1,836 career runs batted in. Kyle Seager. The Pirates have already had enough of the Seager brothers. His younger brother had quite a series at PNC Park, and now he is 2 for 3 tonight with a line out to right. Year-old third-round pick in 2009, and his younger brother Justin is in the Mariners system, so could see 3 Seagers playing in the big leagues before long. 2-2. Trying to finish with 2 1/3 scoreless Caminero, approaching 50 pitches. Line to that left center gap, and they'll have to hurry. It goes all the way to the wall. Lee going to try and score, and he is out. What a play that was! What a play!
Couple of good throws there. The one coming in off the wall, and a great relay throw.
Jordy Mercer immediately turned and gunned to the plate. Now they're going to possibly look to challenge it, but McCutchen to Mercer to Stewart. getting Dae-Ho Lee at the plate. Plate. They asked for an umpire review, which is almost standard operating procedure anymore on any play at the plate, and the umpires uphold the original call. Scott Service questioning whether that Buster Posey rule should be invoked. But the throw was perfect. The play made at the plate. You take a look at Stewart blocking the plate. Talked to Chris Stewart about this very play yesterday after Sean Rodriguez was thrown out. Bob, I don't know if you saw that play at PNC Park with the Dodgers.
No, I didn't.
But there was a play where Adam Frazier had singled in the 4th inning against Clayton Kershaw on Sunday night. And Jock Peterson, the center fielder, threw to the plate. And Rodriguez tried to take that wide turn we see so often and avoid the tag. And meanwhile, the catcher, Yasmani Grandal, had gone out to make the catch of the throw, which took him into that path. He used the one hand. If Rodriguez goes in and basically kind of barrels him over, more than likely the ball's dislodged.
Yeah.
And I asked Stewart about that. I said, as a catcher, shouldn't you basically disregard that rule anymore and leave it up to you as a catcher if you want to risk injury, but block the plate, because we're seeing more and more that play is not overturned anymore.
Yeah.
And as a runner, basically barrel the catcher over if he's there. And he said, yeah, that's kind of what we're doing now.
Well, you could see
an example
that
of it.
replay right there, the straight down looking at the plate. You could see Lee slide into Stewart's foot and get hung up there just for a moment. And as his foot was getting hung up on the shin guard, that's when the tag was applied. And then the shin guard in Stewart's foot kind of moved out of the way, and then he went on to the plate. If his foot is not there and it's just a straight sweep tag, the foot would probably have already been on the plate. So, I mean, but over the centuries of baseball, it's always been the catcher tries to block you off the plate or at least delay your arrival. And that's what we saw right there.
Perfectly done by Stewart.
Outstanding.
And the throw from Mercer.
Yeah, another thing I saw too on the replay before was that McCutchen was able to backhand that ball and about 2 feet in front of the fence. If he doesn't get to that, if the ball actually makes it to the fence, then there's not going to even be a play at the plate. Just a little thing like that. We were talking about earlier about Marte. Remember coming over and holding a I can't remember now who hit that ball, but making a single, a little ground ball over the third baseman.
Yep.
Well, that's another little play out there in the outfield. That's a great play by Mercer. The beautiful throw to the plate. Everybody's going to talk about that, but that little backhand out there, keeping the ball off the fence, is as big a part of the complete play as anything.
Stewart flies to center. So you needed all 3 components. You needed McCutchen to make the play he did. You needed Mercer with no delay. It had to be accurate.
If any of this doesn't happen, then you don't get the out. Look at McCutcheon. Hey, see how he gets to the ball? If that ball gets by him and rolls to the fence, there's not a play now. But because he got there and because he got a good throw off, and then Mercer a perfect throw of the plate, and then Stewart with his shin guard planted right in front of home plate, delaying the slide a little bit, all of that all added up to an out at the plate and keeps us a 3-run ball game.
Point Park University tweets. Great play to get the out at home. Mercer, me, what a relay, what a play. This is fouled back. 0-2. Attaboy Jordy. And that just is a tremendous baseball play. And now Jaso caught looking.
This was a little bit like that that strike 3 pitch. I think it was to Cruz earlier in the ball game. Remember the up and in fastball that just freezes the hitter? That was the same thing there. That fastball just put up there in a spot, especially as hard as Diaz throws, that Jaso he couldn't pull the trigger in time. Remember, Greg, 10 years ago we'd play interleague and we would be so overmatched in American League ballpark because of the DH.
Yeah.
You know, anymore with the depth of this team, it's not like that. You know, no matter what, when we're in American League Park now,
Evenly matched.
whoever it is we have as a DH, I'll put up there with anybody's. You know, Polanco tonight, obviously. But it won't, you know, as this road trip unfolds, will it be Freeze on a certain night, Jung Ho on a certain night? It won't matter. You're going to have a quality designated hitter because of the depth and the bench that this club has now. Been like that for a couple of years. But I can just remember the days where it felt like we go to American League City and it's like, you know, offensively we're outmanned here. You know, we're playing with 8, they're playing with 9.
Polanco a walk, a bunt single, a double. Facing this 22-year-old rookie from Puerto Rico, Edwin Diaz. Turned 22 the end of March and again called up from Double-A earlier this month.
.100. He's a hard thrower. .101.
And he gets a call there. Called third strike.
Copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Buccos wrap up this 2-game series against the Mariners tomorrow night. Coverage starts at 9:30 with Pirates pregame presented by W.B. Mason here on Root Sports. Still want to get you one of those parrot hats, Bob. I've been meaning to do that. I stopped by the gift shop.
I'll do one before it gets cold out.
Yeah.
It's not really a summertime hat, to be honest with you.
No, you could use it.
But I'll wear it in the wintertime. I'll wear
You
it.
could wear it in Oakland this trip.
No.
No?
It'll be warm there.
Oh, will?
Yeah. It's a wintertime hat for me. I keep my ears warm. In the fall, maybe. It's a fall hat.
Well, that kid seemed pretty comfortable wearing it. Past Manny Octa, that ground ball. Jared Hughes trying to get him back to form. Such an important cog to this bullpen. Bottom third of the order, Chris Iannetta, Leonis Martin, Sean O'Malley. Bottom of the 8th. It'll be an out. McCutchen. Jared Hughes came on in yesterday's game, relieving Francisco Liriano with some men on base, and gave up run scoring single to Howie Kendrick. Later an infield RBI hit by A.J. Ellis.
Well, Greg, we've talked many times in the first few months here about starting rotation, the inconsistencies, but it's been the bullpen also. The starting rotation can kind of have a little cause and effect. On
No
that
question,
bullpen.
it's had a lot to do with it, but and I know you were kind of finishing up that's not the reason.
Right. It's not the reason. It's a contributing factor.
Steve Cishek is the closer.
But it is another thing that certainly has to be fixed and needs to be better.
Getting him back, Garrett Cole, awfully important. Hughes strikes out Martin. Francisco Cervelli probably going to be involved in a simulated game on this road trip, along with Vogelsong and Cole. So it won't be long when Cervelli returns. That'll be important. Francisco Liriano, really hard to figure. And a bouncing ball to Jaso and on to Hughes. And for the second time tonight, the Mariners go down in order. Last shot, down 3. Great shots from the Allegheny Health Network Supermo. Tomorrow night, Jameson Taillon will make his 5th Major League start. Tonight, the Pirates are hoping to come back in the 9th in the first of this brief 2-game series. And Steve Cishek, 4 blown saves. His numbers. Former Marlin.
The side armor definitely doesn't give up a lot of hits. A very low opponent batting average.
Andrew McCutchen leads off the 9th. We'll say it was an impressive entrance.
Well,
unlike anything we've ever seen.
They have all these LED lights here, and they can turn them off and on in
an instant.
Yeah.
So they turn them off almost completely. And the big scoreboard, they put a video on for Cishek as he enters. Pretty impressive.
Traditional lights, if they go out, you're going to be here for 10 minutes while they warm back up when you turn them on again. But with the LEDs, they just off and on instantly. They can give you a little bit of a light show, like an indoor arena.
This is what it looked like.
San Diego has these kind of lights also. Very energy efficient, obviously. LEDs.
Cishek signed as a free agent in December. Just turned 30 years old 10 days ago. Pirates, of course, have seen him in the past. And in 12 appearances, 3.18 ERA versus Pittsburgh. Oh, hit hard to center field by McCutchen. He begins the 9th with a solid single to center.
I'm not trying to pull. This is kind of like that right center type stuff. This is just a bullet to center field, right back through the middle.
Let's listen.
One more base runner, get that tying run up there and get one swing of the bat territory. When you're behind like this in the 9th, that's what you're hoping for, to get a chance to get that tying run to the plate and hope somebody can connect.
Ball, 1 strike. Marte tripled his last time up. Hit the ball hard his second at bat against Iwakuma, but it was turned into a double play.
Well, that triple was a beautiful thing to watch him circle the bases. Do it again. Got up, tried to pull that slow breaking ball away from him. Just topped it. But that's okay. We'll take a swing and bunt. Infield hit. Any way you can get on.
Tapper to the right side. McCutchen is tagged out. And don't turn 2.
I think Lee dropped the ball.
So 1 out.
Catch trying to stop and avoid the tag, and a perfect throw, and Lee just clanks this one. Straight down. How about that? Boy, would it be something if we could make that one hurt.
Joyce now. Two.
Cishek got a call on that one. That one was low.
Two and two. Joyce was at the plate in the 5th inning against Hisashi Iwakuma. And a strike was called during the at-bat that led to the ejections of hitting coach Jeff Branson. And then Clint Hurdle came out and argued with the home plate umpire, Ben May. First of all, after this called strike, you see it was just borderline, but it was a strike. The dugout, mainly hitting coach Jeff Branson, got tossed, and Clint Hurdle then came out, and he would be ejected. Battling Cishek. Pirates have a runner at first thanks to the error by Dae-Ho Lee, the first baseman, dropping that throw from Cano. In that 5th inning at bat. David Freese on deck.
Pretty good battle right here. Pitch number 9.
That could be 2, but nobody at second, so they'll just get the out at first. Be a 6-3 put out on the shift. Pirates down to their final out.
I don't know why Seager didn't go to the bag on that. Worst thing that would happen is they don't throw in the ball and Marte goes to third, which has no effect whatsoever on the ball game. There's 2 double plays they should have got.
Yeah.
Keeping us in this one.
Jung Ho Kang has come out on deck. He would hit for Frazier.
I would love to see him get a shot. Not exactly Jung Ho's type of pitcher, but I still would like to see it. Jung Ho, one of those Pirates that really loves the hard throwers.
And the Mariners win the first of this 2-game series. Cishek earns his 18th save, and Hisashi Iwakuma wins his 7th.
Well, not much offense from the Pirates earlier in this ball game. It was the first 5 innings. It was all Mariners, and then they basically just kind of hung on to the end to put this one away. So
again, the Mariners win the first game of this series. We will be back with more. First, we're going to send it back to Pittsburgh. Rob King and Jack Surincic.